Hey everybody, this is Francesco Abbruzzino with the Scoop News. I am here with the candidate for county commission, Christian Ziegler, and he's running for Paul Carajula's seat. He decided not to run anymore. He's actually up in Sarasota, but it's basically you can vote wherever you're at in Sarasota County. One of the downsides that I put on here that I didn't touch with Christian is it sucks if you're not in the Republican Party, because when, like, and a good example, when Paul ran, there wasn't a strong Democrat, so it was whoever won the Republican ticket. Well, I'm no longer on the Republican Party anymore, and I'm in the independent. And guess what? I couldn't vote for my county commissioner. It sort of sucked, and because Paul ended up walking in after that, basically. So we're going to talk to Christian a little bit about it. Why don't we start off with tell us a little bit about you, why people should consider you over Lourdes Ramirez, or who's the third person?
No, I'm not running against Lourdes.
Oh, I thought it was Lourdes. Who are you running
she's
against?
running against Almayo.
Oh, Almayo.
So
Okay.
I'm running against, I have a primary with Alexander Coe, and I got a Democrat, Rudy Giuliani.
Okay, so tell us why they should consider you over them.
Yeah, so my name's Christian Ziegler, as we mentioned, and running for county commission. Basically, about a year ago, Paul Carajula reached out to me and said, look, I'm going to run for re-election unless I can recruit you to run for my seat. So county commission was never on my radar. I thought about it for a couple months. He was lobbying me hard for probably about 5-6 months. And then I agreed to get in the race. So, really what motivated me to do this is the fact that my wife and I, we've got to Sarasota a lot younger than most people do. Usually people work their whole lives to be able to retire here. But we don't ever plan on leaving. Like our children, we have a almost 5-year-old. We got a 2.5-year-old, 2 girls. We have another one on the way, which we haven't even broken the news to all our family yet. So
breaking news.
Yeah, breaking news. I probably should have said
Bridget
that.
is pregnant.
Yeah. So, but no. I mean, they're going to go to school here. They're probably going to go to college somewhere else. I mean, I'm realistic. There's not many choices down here. But I want to create Sarasota into a place that they want to move back to once they're done with college. So, we need to take care of the economy. That's probably the top thing that I'm focused on, or making sure people have access to high-paying jobs. I do have the endorsement from Governor Rick Scott, mainly for my business background and stuff that I've worked with him on. He knows how strong the economy is, in my view, that needs to be focused on at least. We need to take care of our environment, need to take care of our land, need to take care of our area. We have to have smart growth across the board. But I'm a big believer. I want a vibrant, community. I want people to want to move to Sarasota. And, we also need to stay safe. And the sheriff just walked by. We're down here in Venice, and I'm a big supporter of the sheriff, big supporter of the sheriff's office, law enforcement. I want to make sure they have the resources to keep all of us safe around Sarasota County as well. So that's some of the main things, the main reasons why I'm running.
And what's your website, real quick, and we'll say it again at the end.
Yeah, it's Ziegler4Sarasota.com, and that's spelled out F-O-R, so Ziegler4Sarasota.com.
All right, now on the issues. Let's start off with Siesta Key. That's an important issue right now. They're talking about parking, and they're talking about paid parking. They're talking about extending the SCAT, looking at different variables, but I think purchasing some land. What are your thoughts on that?
Well, as you mentioned, I mean, this is an issue people are very interested in. It seems like when you go out to the beach, I know I go out there a lot, it's always difficult to find parking, right?
Yes.
And if you're a citizen, you paid for those spots, you paid for that parking spot, you want to be able to go out there and be able to assess your beach and have, accessibility with it. What the solution is, to be honest, I'm not totally sure yet. I have looked at it, and I've kind of read the discussions that are going on. I haven't really seen the hard facts yet. But just my gut feeling is, look, if we did do paid parking, I would want to make sure that every resident in Sarasota County, every Sarasota County resident is opted in, and it's free parking for them. If we're going to do free parking, I think we charge people that don't live in Sarasota County that are coming here. I think they're okay paying a couple bucks to be able to enjoy the #1 beach in the U.S. I don't think it's going to stop them from coming, is my personal view. Because for a couple dollars you can go to Siesta Key that has that amazing 99.9% quartz sand, or you can go to a beach in Tampa Bay or something that's not as nice. So if we did do it, I want to make sure our citizens aren't having to pay, because they're already paying for it up front. And then some of these other solutions are interesting with the the I-rides that they've talked about with the golf carts, or SCAT, maybe supporting with the trolleys somehow, having parking off the key and bringing people on. I don't know about all those options yet, but it is something that we need to look at.
And so you guys know, it's not because I don't think it's because he hasn't done his homework. It's because they've brought the city, the employees brought some different ideas and concepts about a week ago to the table. They sent them back to look at them. They're going to have a special meeting to address them more in detail. So there's not a ton of info. I know the bus, I think, is going to cost $1 million or something.
There's just so many ideas that are coming. It's such an early stage in this discussion, so it's still evolving, right? So it's hard to really drill down and say, oh, that's the plan, because we need to take a look at everything. And I'm down for all citizens where do they stand and what ideas do you guys have? Come to the county commission. I'm not on there yet, but just dump your ideas and everything should be really looked at because something needs to get addressed out there. You know, we have an amazing beach. It's so beautiful. We have amazing facilities out there that everyone wants to enjoy. But if you can't find parking, it makes it very difficult to enjoy.
All right, since we're here in Venice, let me ask you one question. What about the relationship? It seems to me, and maybe I'm crazy, but as you know, I'm pretty much into all the politics here.
Yep.
Venice and the county butt heads. I think I know the reason. I'm not going to address it. What would you do to try to make it so it's a better relationship so that the city and county can work hand in hand?
Well, I'm a big believer. You have to have good. You always have to start with relationships if you're going to get anything done. So you have to have a good relationship. You know, but you also got to realize that the county has their jurisdiction and their oversight and their budgets and their responsibilities, and the city has the same exact thing on theirs. And you're going to get city commissioners from Venice that are going to advocate for their job and their responsibilities that they have in their citizens, which is absolutely the way it should work. Is, you know, they're hired by the voters to do one thing, and that's to represent Venice and work for Venice. But then you have the county commission that's also there to represent the rest of the county, right? So I know there's some, you know, back and forth, and you know, I'm one of those. Look, I've been in business. I started a business, grew from 0 to about 25 employees, and you need to have good relationships. But I'm also very focused on productivity. You need to be productive. You can't let relationships. You can't let drama. You can't let egos get in the way from getting stuff done. So I know there's some concerns that, you know, individuals in Venice have, specifically with some of these parks.
Yes.
And the Little League. And look, I'm like the biggest, you won't find a bigger supporter of sports out there. I grew up in a single mother household, and my fathers throughout life always happened to be my coaches. So, you know, Little League's very important, I think, to the community. I think it's vital. It's a lot more important than people realize. It's not just going out there hitting the ball. You'll learn a lot of life lessons. But, you know, the taxpayers expect that, look, we want Little League. We need these fields taken care of. And to be honest, most taxpayers, they really don't care where the money comes from because they're not diving into it on a daily basis, unlike someone like you or myself, right? But they say, look, I look at my tax bill, my money's going to government, and I expect this, this, and this from government. And they don't care who delivers, how it's delivered. They don't really care, is the county cutting the grass or the city's cutting the grass? But you need to figure out a way to work together. So, you know, we need to come to the table, make sure that we're all on the same page somehow. And I know there historically has been some battles, and I'm sure they'll continue. And I'm sure, look, if I get on there, it's probably going to happen, right? There's going to be disagreements. But you got to be able to realize that who you work for at the end of the day.
Okay, let's hop over to Senka. What are your thoughts on the welfare program out there? It's been pretty controversial that Senka hasn't followed through with a lot of the promises. And right now, this county I think you guys gave them something like gave them something like $2,500. Where do you stand on that? In continuing that, or saying, look, we gotta do something here?
Look, to be honest, I haven't looked into it yet.
Okay.
So that's an issue that someone mentioned to me recently. I kind of put it down, and I am going to be meeting with the county staff to figure out what are the facts out there, what's really going on. So I'll come back on and I'll give you a little bit better of a more in-depth answer. But I'm just getting started with this. I mean, I'm going to be honest. I don't have the answers for everything yet. You know, all I can share is what my background is, what my experience is, what my relationships are, and then I'm diving in issue after issue after issue. There's so much stuff that faces our great community. You know, we have 410,000 residents, I think, last time I checked. So that's something that definitely I need to sit down and kind of do my homework in. And like, for example, I went and met about the dredging out on Siesta Key. That's a big issue, right?
Yeah.
And, you know, it's something that I've kind of heard about. I've seen friends post stuff on Facebook. But yesterday I went and I think it was yesterday or the day before, I went and met with Michael Holderness, right? And he's kind of heading up the Siesta Key. He's waving the Siesta Key flag. And he's been there his whole life. He's so passionate about it, which is awesome to see, by the way. But you know, I kind of heard his side, and I told him, and he was fine with this. I said, look, I want to hear you out. Let's spend a couple hours together. Let's go tour it. Let's go walk around. Show me exactly old photos, old maps. And I said, look, Michael, I'm just going to be honest. I can't take a position unless I go talk to the other side as well, right? So I got to go meet with the Lido guys. I got to go meet with, you know, the city of Sarasota and really find out what all the facts are. So on a lot of these issues, I'm still kind of in the middle of doing that.
And it's a kind of a good thing. He's actually a head up of the GOP in Sarasota County, so he knows a lot of the players that are out there that he has to discuss with. So I don't think that'll be too much of an issue getting out there. I have a question though in regards to Beach Road. That's an initiative that's going on the ballot. Where do you stand on that? And have you looked into it, and where do you stand on it?
I have looked into it. Actually, yesterday I was walking up and down it with Michael Holderness.
Okay.
And, you know, right now, I haven't looked at the legal side of it yet and what the opinions are. And I know there's actually been commissioners on, you know, Republicans that even disagree on that issue. And
yeah.
I haven't seen the specific facts on all of that. But you know, just in general, I think we need to be careful because you have private property that people are claiming private property rights. You have other individuals saying that no, this belongs to the county and all the people. I'm a big believer in individual property rights, so we always got to look at that. Let's make sure we're not taking someone else's land that they rightfully have, you know, rights to, if you will. But yeah, Beach Road. I mean, you see that guy Constantino. I think he's always driving around with the, you know, sign.
You'll see him at all the county meetings if you
I
goes to almost every one.
But you see him driving around with his sign everywhere, you know, on the back of the truck. So no, I get it.
All right. How about one issue that's new to here is the Atlanta Braves. I put out something. There's the governor candidate.
Yeah. And Adam Putnam walking behind, running for governor.
All right. The Braves. I saw they're putting the roof over. All right.
Yep.
It's looking nice.
Yep.
Big concern is the River Road and the access there, and especially when you build all those houses. We're transitioning over to the state. The state doesn't have any money. They think maybe 2022. What are we going to do about that? What are your thoughts on it? In the future, when you approve developers, will you also consider, hey, we got to get some freaking infrastructure in place?
Yeah. So while you're developing, you got to make sure you have the infrastructure in place. And when you're talking about River Road's about as frustrating as you get to me. Because I'll tell you, when I came down here in 2006, that's the first time I came down, they were talking about River Road. And then I've been meeting with people a lot lately about it down in Northport and that area. And they said, no, not 2006. They've been talking about it probably since I was born, to be honest. I mean, I don't know if that's a stretch. And, you know, it's unfortunate because you get these politicians, people get in office, they say, we're going to get River Road done. We got to widen, you know, River Road. It's really like a river road, right? Because it's underwater and, you know, in portions, and it's so dangerous because it is an access for, you know, evacuation. You need to go that route. So River Road needs to get done. I'm hoping that with the Braves, that's going to give even more motivation because, you know, sometimes you find some of those projects give motivation to get stuff done.
Yes.
It needs to get widened. And really, when you talk about the state now kind of jumping in and having responsibility for it, it's not just that top portion north of 41.
Right.
You also got to make sure you take care of the Inglewood portion. And I met with a lot of citizens down there that are concerned with that. So, you know, I'll tell you just from the state side, if we just talk the north part from 41, is that's where, you know, it's funny, I get attacked a lot because, look, he's so involved with the party, he's got all these political connections and all that. I'll tell you, when I get in office, kind of what you mentioned, is I think it's a big asset and a big benefit to have. Like right now, I can take out my cell phone, call the governor, and, you know, have a conversation with him right now. He'd either call me, he'd either answer, or he'd call me right back, right? And those relationships are invaluable. So whoever the next governor is, you know, whoever comes in as Speaker of the House, Speaker of the Senate, I do have great relationships with those individuals. And a lot of this stuff is built on relationships. You know, you got to make phone calls, you got to get stuff done. And even high-priced stuff, you can get it sometimes pushed through if you have those relationships. And you can make your case. You have access to make your case, and you got to make a good case. But long overdue, needs to get done. It's crazy that it hasn't gotten done. But I know that's one of the top issues for Northport and South Sarasota County. So I've been on that like crazy.
All right, I'm going to hurry up with one more question so we can get in there. The biggest issue right now we're battling is Okeechobee, the algae, the red tide. My big thing is I did a report out here with the outflows dumping all this crap into the water and the pollution. You can't do a lot, I understand that, but what are your thoughts on it, your opinion and all that stuff?
Well, yeah, a lot of it. Yeah, we're going live right now, man. Yeah, a lot of it is, you know, naturally occurring, but there probably is some, you know, human effects, especially when you look at Okeechobee, kind of what's going on over there and deciding to release the water or not, and which that's, thankfully, we don't have to deal with that too much, you know, directly with our local community. But when you talk about red tide, we got to find a way to address it. My mom, she worked her tail off in her life. You know, she started with working 3 jobs when I was a kid, ended up owning a business of herself, and then she sold it, retired on longboat like anyone else would want to live on the water, and she's living on longboat, and you really don't want that red tide affecting people because it really does affect citizens. So even my mom, look, she worked her whole life to be able to live on longboat. You get out there, red tide, you got citizens going out to their beaches. You know, even me, I wanted to go down to the beach down here recently, and I look at the red tide report, I'm like, I don't know, you know, we'll go to the pool, right? So it really hurts the area. We need to find ways to address it, and we need to find ways to prevent stuff from happening when we can have control over it.
All right, I'm sure we got a lot more questions. We're kind of cut short for time. If you have more questions, write them on here. I'm sure he'll follow the feed, and I'm going to send it over to him. After this, we're going to go in and listen to Adam and hear what he has to say. But thanks a lot. Give your website, any final information you want to
Yeah, no, I appreciate everyone watching. You guys are very engaged. I'll tell you, he gets a lot of hits on his website, which he told me, and I said, there's no way. And then I ended up actually seeing the stats that he gets a lot of hits. So, it's great to see citizens involved, engaged, really focused on what's going on in their community, concerned with what's going on. That's important. So, good for you having that platform for people to do this. And, I'll just tell you, like I said, my wife and I were very fortunate to get here. I want to leave Sarasota County better than I inherited it, better than it was when I got here. For my girls, my girls are the most important thing. They're my motivation. And, I'm going to do everything I can to do that. And if you want to follow my website, join my campaign, just go to Ziegler4Sarasota.com.
Awesome. Okay. Thanks a lot.
Thank you, sir.
All right, buddy. I'll
Appreciate
see you
it,
inside.
man. Yep.